Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Archer's Garage and Whatnot. Today we're back in the garage and we're working on a 2011 Ford Focus. We're changing the power steering pump. Very easy job, pretty much. This one here I kind of let it get by me. It started making some noise a little while back, and I changed the there's an O-ring. There's a reservoir on top and an O-ring that goes from that to the pump. I changed that, but it'd been a little bit too long, so the pump's still making a little bit of noise. It got better, and then it got back to about where it was again. So it's pretty worn. So it's time to do it, and I want to take you guys along, show you how it's done. It's very simple. Anybody can do it, and I want to show you how. All right. So here's what we're talking about. So what I replaced already, there's an O-ring in between this reservoir and the pump that's in there. So I took the reservoir off, changed the O-ring, and like I said, it got a little bit better, and then it got back to where it was. So there's air getting by there. So the O-ring, it's supposed to be round, right? Well, it had flattened out, and I replaced the O-ring, and it got back to where it was. So now I'm going to go ahead and just cut to the chase, replace the whole pump. So here is what the pump looks like. It's very simple, right? There's 4 bolts to hold it to the block, and there's a pulley, and here's where your reservoir clips in. Now the only thing that you need a special tool for on this would be the pulley. Got to remove that with a special tool, and you can rent that at any, I say any, most auto parts store. So our first step, what you want to do is down here. I don't know if you can see it. Come on, focus there, buddy. All right, anyway, down there's a 13 millimeter headed bolt, and that is on the tensioner. So you'll want to move the tensioner, and that'll put slack on the belt. You take the belts off. If you're not going to replace the whole belt, no need to take it all the way out. That just causes confusion. So just move it out of the way a little bit, you'll be good. And so we're going to start with that. I'm going to lift the car up slightly, get a drain pan under there, get it draining, and I'll get back with you. Alright, so I got it loose, the reservoir loose anyhow. So the first thing you do, there's 2 10 millimeter screws, one on this side, one in this little cubby in here. And to get to those, I used this setup here, little 3-inch extension, 10 millimeter socket, and a 3/8 ratchet. And at first I broke it loose without the extension, just the socket on the ratchet, and then I put the extension on to get in there and get the screws out. Alright, so now I gotta take this off. You see where it's connected down in there. There we go. You see, there's the O-ring I was talking about. That's the one I replaced before, and I guess the one I put on there probably wasn't quite the right size. This one I had at the house, and that may have been why it didn't do quite the job I wanted it to do. Anyhow, there's the top 2. You got 2 underneath, same configuration down there. You take it off, then you use a special puller to get the pulley off, and I'll show you how to do that too. Oh, and by the way, guys, if you're not scratching yourself up and bleeding and all that, you're not doing it right. So be sure you do that. Alright, so I'm going to backtrack just a little bit, a little change of plans. The coolant expansion tank is here, and I was going to take the whole pump out and do the pulley exchange on a bench, but the line that's on the bottom of the pump, it's an 18 millimeter. Well, the head is 18 millimeter. So trying to get that to turn under there, I kept hitting the pulley, so I couldn't get a full bite. So I was just being kind of a pain in the butt. So I decided to go ahead and move the tank. It's only 2 10 millimeter screws. Take that out, get it out of the way, and I'm gonna go ahead and remove the pulley in place and get to that line a little bit easier. So here's what you use to remove that. So you can rent this at any O'Reilly's or Advance Auto, any place like that. They will rent you a tool. What they do, they charge you the full price. So if you don't return it, you've just bought a tool. So anyway, you pay the full price, when you take it back, you get all of it back. So you're renting it for nothing. So essentially, the way this works. This part, so there'll be one of these will screw into here. This will screw onto that. These clamps will clamp onto this guy, and then it pops it off there. But it's pressed on, so you're not gonna pry against this and get it off, because you're gonna break your pulley. So this is the way you want to do it. All right. So let me get this guy set up, and I'll show you what he looks like set up. All right. So as you see, pulley's off. Here's the old pump. So here's how it works. Here's how the puller works. So you've got this guy. So he's got two different ends on there. You put the smaller one on here, and there's another one that matches the other side, right? So two halves. This guy will slide over top of them. And then you put this on here, and then this clamp, the bigger end, goes around this, right? Right? And it's held in with all this. So all those pieces, those halves are held together with this. That makes it whole. So then you tighten it up, and then as you tighten this into it, it pushes against this shaft, while this pulls against the pulley. All right. So now I'm going to put the new pump in, and then I'll show you how to put the pulley back on that guy. All right, new pump is on, line is on, 18 millimeter to tighten that up, right? I don't have these two bolts in because they hold the reservoir on. But what I wanted to show you here, put the pulley on. It might stick a little bit. Okay. All right. So it'll hold on there. All right. So here's the installer. So what this does, this piece here, see how it's smaller? That will screw into the snout of the pump. And then this guy is what pushes the pulley on. Make sure you get this good and in there, because if you don't, it'll strip out and you'll be in a bad spot. So you'll put this in there, and you'll hold this with a wrench and screw this to push that pulley on. And that's about it, guys. Here, let me show you. Let's try to do it one-handed. Show you how easy it is to get this guy in there. All right, so he's not wanting to go in real easy. So you want to hold this and make sure the long screw is all the way in, because you don't want to rip those threads out. All right, guys, there she is. So very simple install. Remember, 10 millimeters here, 10 millimeters to hold the pump to the engine, 18 millimeter to hold the line underneath it, and a pair of pliers to get this one off. You need a 13 millimeter to squeeze the tensioner to get the belt off. And then the only special tool was the pulley puller. So yeah, the only special tool is that pulley puller. You don't have to buy it. Like I said, you can rent them from O'Reilly's or Advance or places like that. You'll pay a deposit and get a deposit back. The deposit is the full price, typically is the full price of the tool. That way, if you don't return it, you just bought the tool. But yeah, so you pay the deposit. When you turn the tool back in, you get it back. So there you go. Really nothing else to say. Be sure you flush your lines when you get done. You don't want the old fluid contaminating the system. And that's about it. When you fire it up, be sure it has fluid in it. When you fire it up, turn your steering wheel lock to lock. When I mean lock to lock, that means when you turn all the way and it makes that sound, do that all the way. And you don't need to sit there and hold it on. Just turn it back around. It might take 2 or 3 times of that and get the sound out. But yeah, that's about it, guys. So I hope you enjoyed this video. It's a short and sweet one. Very easy repair. Anybody can do it. There's no sense taking this to a shop, especially the big dealerships, to pay the top dollar. You know, they're getting $100 an hour now to do this. And I'll bet you they'd charge you probably 3 hours to do this. So you're talking $300 plus their part price. I think I got this I got it from Rock Auto. It might have been 50 bucks. And, you know, a half a quart of fluid, you know, rent a tool. I had the tools, I didn't have to rent it, but you rent the tool for whatever it is they charge you, and then they give you your money back. But basic hand tools, a little bit of initiative, and anybody can do these jobs. And that's the whole point of this channel. If you like this video, click the like button, subscribe, and I'll keep doing them. Like I said, it's just to empower the little guy to not have to pay the big guy. That's what the whole point of this channel is, and I hope you enjoy it. I hope you have a blessed day, and see you next time, guys.